has to panic and run away.
If they find sort of the pickoffs, but at the moment, OPTIC Gaming, as we've seen it, just be playing very much as a unit. Very hard for Serenity to sort of find those pick-off plays. And you can sort of feel that they realize that themselves. There's a lot of the time, like that last fight, it has been the PL and the Mirana farming elsewhere as XCJ gets caught out by the swap. Stomp does come out onto the three of them, but not in time to save the silencer.
Playing support in this game on the side of Serenity it's really rough. The other Titan did great on the lane phase bottom, but now it's getting to that point where you can't really do anything as either of these heroes versus Spectre and Storm Spirit. They just pop a haunt, they know exactly where you are, and Storm Spirit will just go wild.
And what about this Mirana build? So the Manta Diffusal.
I saw the Diffusal build. I wonder if he's going to change it up.
Like that last fight, it has been the PL and the Mirana fight as well as XCJ. It's caught out by the swap. Stomp does come out onto the three of them, but not in.
But it's gonna mean he's playing this game sort of without the Maelstrom, without the BKB, and obviously still other things are going to come into factor. If he pops the Manta and then the Drunken Haze comes out, that missed chance is still going to be there, making it hard for him to really get the damage on 33. But as you say, maybe just the mana burn in itself will play out quite nicely. Obviously heroes like 33's Brewmaster, very low mana pool. If they can get one stun onto him, drain that mana, he's unlikely to be able to get out the ultimate, unless he's got the one charges.
I think that might be the big thing that they're trying to do. But yeah, the one charges are something they're going to have to be looking at there. Because if they can control him and then just burn his mana down, then they can kind of ignore the Brew a little bit in the fight if he doesn't have that Primal Split mana. They do now have the Manta style finished on GG. He's also has a little bit more freedom to split up around the map. But constantly we see Serenity, they're under the gun, they're under the pressure as the lanes are pushing it onto their side, except for that bottom wave.
I mean, it's like Serenity, they certainly are under pressure, but at the same time, I feel like OPTIC Gaming has had sort of like a 5k lead for the last 10 minutes. It's not grown any bigger. Serenity have been able to sort of keep on par with the farm on their cores, as we are seeing Xingqiu, GGG get closer and closer to that of PyCat and CCNC.
Yeah, they're not hemorrhaging a lot of kills. They are losing a bit in that experience department because they are staying a little bit more as a unit. But they're not allowing OPTIC to pull so far ahead in the gold.
They're leveling it out a bit. The question is if they are going to be able to swing it around, which, as we know, is always infinitely harder against a lineup with a Spectre that is, of course, in a fantastic place. PyCat rocking the Radiance on top of the Manta style and ready to party. Haunt is ready. We'll see the movement here come out from Serenity, but the sentries are down. So unlikely that Serenity is going to be able to make any sort of jump, and they realize this. They just put the ward down, go for the D-ward. Roshan, of course, up as well. So both teams are going to be very interested around this area. OPTIC Gaming, as we've seen, can take the Rosh very quickly with Avenge and the Brewmaster.
CCNC wants to farm the BKB before this next fight. If he has BKB, he has full freedom to just jump all the way toward that back line, as they have that limited disable. They don't really have anything that's instant, unless he gets caught by an arrow. But they are still all playing together, Serenity.
Up top, CCNC looks to zip onto GGG. GGG pops the Manta and CCNC zips straight out. Doesn't want to mess. Yeah, just wants to grab that bouncy rune.
Big items all going to be picked up at the same time on OPTIC. On Serenity, they did just pick up the Diffusal and almost the BKB on the Ember Spirit, so that'll give them a little bit more of a power spike. But OPTIC definitely getting the bigger ones. You know, the BKB on the Storm Spirit, I believe it's the Crimson Guard finished. Too much for the bench too. Negate a lot of that damage on. Constantly, I mean, the Silencer and the Elder Titan kind of have to hold hands in this game behind other people too. Like we were mentioning, just because of the Haunt and the Storm Spirit. If you are split up at all in this game on the side of Serenity, you will more than likely get picked.
So they find that here with the smoke. OPTIC will show themselves there, cleaning out the mid-wave with the Remnant.
They know where Serenity is.
Gonna zip straight in with the Haunt as well. Get the vision there, straight on top of XCJ. No chance for a global silence to come out. Now they look towards GGG. The Magpie down. GGG cannot escape as they quickly get 2 kills. And the plan there all along, as you mentioned earlier, is just using this Haunt for the vision, no hesitation. As soon as CCNC gets eyes on XCJ Silencer, he's straight in, so no global can come out.
And they knew where Serenity was positioned too, because the Sentry ward in the mid lane, Serenity put one down, they killed OPTIC Sentry, and then walked up onto that high ground over here, so.
They're buying back on GGG, they want to try and contest this Roshan. It's falling low though, can they do time though, the ice bomb, it's out onto the Ember. ZYG just gets purchased down, he's dead for 50. GGG's headed into the pit. He's trying to fight up against 33, has burnt the mana of 33, but he needs backup. He has to doppelganger out. It's too dangerous here in the pit. He fought back for this, as now Pycat looks to chase with the dagger. GGG will be able to mantra it off. Pycat's still looking towards him. Split from PYW comes through the arrows. They're actually in the pit here. Can Serenity get away with this? Roshan's gonna fall, but Zai gets the Aegis. OPTIC gets the kill, gets the Aegis. 33 jumps back in on top of Xingqiu, as OPTIC will continue to hold the lead and grow it even greater in this game. 10k advantage now, and an Aegis in Zai's hands as well, despite Serenity's best attempts there to try and fight around the pit.
They tried so hard to at least get the Aegis, deny that away from OPTIC, but unable to. GGG gets forced away from that pit from the Avenge as well as the Spectre. And then Zai just walks up, gets the last hit, and the Aegis for his team. 1, 2, and 17 on this bench.
As you can see there on the KDA, some fantastic numbers on the scoreboard there for OPTIC. CCNC 13-0-6 on his Storm Spirit today. An absolutely incredible performance for him to be bringing out in the lower bracket at Nova here at TIA.
This ice path is perfectly connecting the control to knock out ZYD, who just had gotten pretty much that BKB. He was one of their big damage dealers for this fight. If he was there, it could have made a huge difference for them, but since he spent his gold, doesn't have the buyback, and GGG did use the buyback there, doesn't want to die because they could just lose the game if he does go down. Has to play a little bit more defensive.
Look like they may have a chance of grabbing it here as the two of them jump in, but again, yeah, some of the PPD Shakira players been very disruptive as BAM. They find Xingqiu, they come in with the horn on top of the Mirana. They're going to look for PYW as well. He'll use himself up in the air, but he's surrounded. Double kill for Pycat.
Oh, game just looks so hard for them now.
And of course,
it's already looked difficult, but
Pycat still got the cheese. He was able to pick that up as well, the last rush. OPTIC now ready to pressure into the base. Again, we'll see if they can get away with the tier 3 this time. Xingqiu does have buyback on the Mirana available. PYW down for 20 seconds though on his Elder Titan. One of the biggest ways that they can look to sort of set up a fight.
How can they kill any of the heroes on OPTIC though? How can they go through a Crimson Guard as well as a pipe when they're this far behind?
As OPTIC will claim the mid-melee racks, they'll look towards the ranged as well, as Serenity have no way of stopping this sort of push, especially not with about the full 5-man. As Xingqiu still sits at the sidelines holding on to that buyback, realizes that even with himself buying back, they're unlikely that they can defend that middle set of racks.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
A 16k behind, and 16k behind a Spectre lineup, as we keep saying.
I don't know how they can take these straight up engagements. I'm trying to think about it. I just think they need numbers advantage. They need to try to take somebody out before the fight starts, but it's so difficult versus OPTIC. If they can look to maybe even take out PPD before the fights, I mean, the ice paths have been proving to be quite an obnoxious element for them. But even then, they have so much they have to climb through. That's a full Shiva's Guard also for CCNC. Level 23 on the Storm Spirit.
Still is. It's been a sad game for the Silencer as well. XCJ 35 minutes and only 8 intelligence stolen.
400 net worth as well. Hasn't even hit the level 15 for that juicy GPM talent.
.33, sort of the man that really started this whole sort of momentum off. The way that him and Zai were able to win that top lane as hard as they were. Just have really made sort of the majority of this game, Serenity having to play with just PL, GGG in full recovery mode.
Yeah, they had no back, but they clipped the wave. GGG was still trying to farm it.
Talking about the man, there he is, getting jumped on again, and he's dead for 80 seconds. Buyback unavailable. As OPTIC have just absolutely controlled this PL through and through. GGG just unable to play his game in this match. Now OPTIC setting up to bring this top lane round and look to go into the base as Team Serenity once again with the knowledge safe that there will not be a PL turning up to this fight for a full minute.
Pycat's got a heart, he's still got the cheese. Well, he can pick up the heart. He's got the cheese. I mean, they're ready to just go for this push here. The Moonlight Shadow comes out, but without a PL, they can still just slow it down, but taking a fight, way too difficult.
Where is the damage? Their sort of best hopes is PYW setting up some sort of 5-man Earth Splitter.
They need a 5-man Earth Splitter.
That's what they need at this stage.
And I'm still not too sure if it's going to be able to dish out enough damage through OPTIC.
The change control. All will come out from Pycat straight away. Zai looks for the swap back on PYW. They're heading straight back to the fountain. XCJ's not going to be able to get back safely though. Neither's PYW. ZYD, is he even going to survive? He will. He does get back. But they lose both of the supports there. Serenity, OPTIC take the tier 3 tower top. They move onto the barracks. As Serenity just holding themselves inside of the fountain. They'll have GGG back in the game. But without the Silencer and the Elder Titan, it's going to be pretty much impossible to set up a successful fight as OPTIC.
They're still healthy. They're not going to stop. They're going to take this last Rax.
Moving the parade down to the bottom lane, looking for that final tier 3 and set of Rax to take away from Serenity.
Give up the last Farad.
GQ jumps forward, quickly puts the man to get himself out of the macro pipe. Primal Split has been popped here by 33. ZYD's still trying to poke around with him, but Pycat, with the Crimson Guard buff given to him and the fact that he has that Heart, he's pretty much invincible. Straight in onto GGG. GGG down once again for 70. They'll claim the Rax. OPTIC getting the Mega Creeps out. As they certainly look to have done it here in this game one. Earth Splitter will come out onto Pycat, but he'll be earned up, starting to heal back up, and GG will be cool. They'll tap out Serenity of this game one as OPTIC looking absolutely on point here in terms of performance as well. There's some of the KDAs in this game, absolutely phenomenal. The sort of lane decision, the drafting, it just worked out perfectly for OPTIC. Never really kicked off for Serenity in this game. CCNC ending the game 16-0-10. All those MasterChef streams must have paid off because he certainly cooked up a treat this game, Fog.
He really did. They played so well, honestly. They played very aggressive. They didn't slow down, and they were playing with the team with the Storm and the Spectre in the lineup. Spectre died twice in the game in the laning phase, but that was the only 2 deaths on Pycat throughout the entire time. They just kept that pressure up, 33 as well as Zai, constantly running around, and even PPD inside of those team fights. Some very clutch ice paths, controlling several heroes. And Serenity, it seemed like they were on the back foot just really from the beginning of the game. Sure, they were keeping the net width kind of close, but as for making their own moves, it seemed so difficult for them to really take advantage of OPTIC when they were split up on the map.
I mean, what do you feel was the biggest sort of fault here from Serenity? Was it one of the picks? Was it the draft, or was it not really the draft?
Palms are sweating.
Casey.
Yes. It's a very long hallway, which is a little bit different from past TIs. So I wonder if the nerves kind of build up a little bit more as you're.
I know I get winded in this hallway, so.
Well, that's a whole other story, but we can definitely address that at your next doctor's appointment.
Thank you.
But we're coming out into the arena now. Now, this is the part where you start to hear the crowd typically.
Yes.
Cheering for you.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
That
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Yay! Team Tickles! They loved it. I knew they'd love it. And then you head out to the crowd.
And then you head out. And you're on the stage.
All right, onto the stage here. The crowd is roaring. You're nervous, but it's okay, Casey. Because you know Team Tickles is going to make it to the end of TI.
Team Tickles!
Then he walks in, but now a lot of players, they're very focused, but not us. We're showmen, so you know we have a certain thing. When we walk by, we know how to address a crowd. Am I right, people? Yeah, give it to me. Oh.
And then I will go over here and address this crowd.
Yeah, that's hype. The wheel. All right.
Where did you go? What? You're not supposed to go in the pod. That's
I want to go in the pod.
No, that's for the real team.
Okay. Well, I was also real at one moment. Oh.
Thanks for the tickles.
Thank you.
That's a great name. Yes. I appreciate it.
Don't steal it, community.
Don't steal it, community.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, I think the big takeaway here is the nerves, but also the excitement.
That's right. You guys in the crowd make this happen with all of your energy in there. And certainly I felt something when I was walking out there. So
that was a heart attack, but yes.
Yes, it was the cholesterol, but
all right, sure as though you would the grand final, guys. Let's hear it. That's you guys. Come on.
Yes.
Keep it going. Woo. Keep it going.
It is certainly electric, and it's one of the things that makes TI just so special. All this cheer and all this stuff, and the beautiful Aegis, which I really want to touch, but I know that I will be arrested.
Please don't.
Yes, I do.
It's magic. We'll send it back to you guys. Wait, you're actually here. We should hang on this way.
We could literally send it back to them in person. This is a first.
Do you think we're going to make them nervous? Hey guys, what's up?
No one ever gets nervous when I have it. That's a sheer drop. That is death. Casey, no. Okay. We never get to do this in real life. This is every single person's dream, is to physically pass it back to the panel. Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is happening. The whole truck is freaking out. The live truck is like, what are you doing?
Here we go.
Hey, guys, what's up? I'm going to go over here.
That was a lot more nerve-wracking than I thought it was going to be with the lights just chasing after us.
Back to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Slacks. Thank you, Casey. That will be an unforgettable moment of TI for me. But, of course, the player walk-ins, an unforgettable moment for the players. I never want to experience that again. But here we are at the panel. We're waiting for game 2, and the players will be walking through that phase. I mean, that's something, you know, back even when I was even just stage hosting, being able to walk on stage from the reverse direction to face the crowd was something. And I can't imagine it as players, you know, whether it's TI or other tournaments, right? It's always, I think, a new feeling to get to greet the fans.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I actually agree, though. Like, I think I'm more nervous here than when I'm walking up the stage.
Well, perhaps that's with the focus that you have on the game as we see the players coming back in. This is game number 2 in a best of 3. And as you just mentioned, KP, and also even Slacks and Casey, the players, when they come into the stage, it's just about getting to that booth, focusing on the game, right? Everything you've talked about, everything you've worked for, now coming on the line. And right now, Serenity really on the line as they are facing perhaps moving down to the lower bracket, down 0-1 in a best of 3 here in, or actually, no, rather, elimination.
The really lower bracket.
Geez, sorry.
There's no basement
I just
level.
made it a lot worse. Facing elimination, my brain's just been trying to figure that out the whole day.
The Slacks whisper, I understand.
You know, and it has an effect. It really gets into your brain. But facing elimination, so a lot greater, of course, everything they've worked for, perhaps ending here at their TI run. But OPTIC Gaming, I mean, they want to be able to move on, right? They have a lot that they've kind of promised to themselves and to their fans. And March, let's check in with that. You talked about the pressure earlier. You talked about PPD perhaps bringing that upper bracket kind of vibe to this OPTIC Gaming team. Do you think that's going to continue in this game too?
Definitely. I think like OPTIC Gaming is capable of counterpicking what Serenity has, like what they are doing. Like they know what they're good at, and then I feel like whatever, like last game, the PL was their comfort hero, and then it was supposed to be good in order for Serenity to win, but OPTIC Gaming just countered that pretty easily. And then if they do it again, it's going to be easy win for OPTIC Gaming, but like KP said, they got to bring in something random that PPD doesn't expect. I'm looking forward to that in this game.
What does PPD... Is there anything PPD doesn't expect? I mean, I feel like this guy just kind of reads everything in and out. What are your thoughts, KP?
I think he wouldn't expect a 10th pick Ricky.
Okay.
Offlane Ricky for Xingqiu.
All right. Okay. Trent, what about you?
I saw them try that one. It didn't go all too well. In one of the games, I think they took a couple with...
that was my game.
Yeah, you were ready for it. You
won.
knew. Yeah. All right. There you go. I think we talked about coming to this series how there's kind of this advantage. You're the underdogs. You're in the lower bracket. And you're like, yeah, we take that first game. And they're going to be so psyched out because they're going to be like, oh, my God, we're like this good team. We're losing to Serenity. But it definitely flips the other way when you're the underdog and now you're down 1-0. Like, now I feel like that edge you had is now a double edge because now it just feels like, oh, man, these guys are so much better. We lost that game. Like, they got to regroup. And maybe it is just something a little bit out there that will bring them back. But
yeah, I mean, it's a mental fortitude game at this point, especially for Serenity, just being able to kind of stay in the booth, right, and not think about anything else that's surrounding them here at TI. Well, we're getting ready for that second game, so we keep talking about these surprises. So far, PPD still holding strong. On the side of OPTIC, I mean, do they just continue to play it safe in the draft phase early on, just scout it out and lock in whatever they're most comfortable with? March, what are your thoughts?
I think they definitely want to have a last pick if possible. I don't know how the coin flip went. Possible. I don't know how the coin flip went. They want to see because they want to have the last pick. They want to see. They want to have the last pick to counter. But at the same time, I think OPTIC's gonna start with like something safe in the early.
All right, they saw success with that in game one. They saw success with that in game one. We're back on stage for this elimination match.
Team Serenity. Team Serenity. OPTIC versus Gaming. OPTIC Gaming. Game 2. Game 2.
All right, and the draft is underway. Draft is underway. We'll start seeing those heroes pop up on stage. So far, we do have OPTIC Spirit once again playing it safe, and Spirit once again playing it safe, and Serenity following up with a Lich and Tiny coming out early on.
We're going to mix it up from our openers in the previous match. The same one for OPTIC, but this time, this was that Tiny that I was definitely looking for in terms of Team Serenity, but I think there might have been some concerns because Tiny's been suffering a lot against this Vengeful Spirit, like that minus armor, very brutal in the laning stage, especially if you want to try and be the like support that's like run up and try and harass. But they're going to go for it either way, and they have the Lich to kind of back that up with the Frost armor.
The phase of this drafting is really fast. They're already almost in the second phase. We don't even get to talk about the first phase, but I guess they know each other really well and they know what they're going to play right now.
Yeah, I was actually surprised they didn't pick the Tiny in the first game from Serenity. I mean, it's understandable for OPTIC because they lost with it. But Serenity, they usually do really well with the Tiny, and they also won their game yesterday with the position for Tiny. So it's also like a flexible pick. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play all those positions. So yeah, I think it's a great pick for Serenity.
Yeah, of course, that's the kind of common theme I think we've seen in all drafts, right? The flexibility really working in favor of the teams who are able to use it to their advantage. And now we're looking at the next picks as the Visage band comes out.
So they picked Phoenix, and then two heroes that's really
Lich doesn't have. He's a range hero, but he's not that. So he doesn't have a long range, and usually he has a slow attack speed. So that's
terrible against Phoenix. Like Lich doesn't have. He's a range hero, but he's not that. He doesn't have a long range, and usually he has a slow attack speed. So does Tiny. So
they have two very strong heroes in their. I would guess for Serenity in this phase.
I guess that's why they banned the TA and Visage. They experienced in the lower bracket against Fnatic, where Visage was pretty strong against Nina, and then TA is always one of the CCN's his best hero, and he loves playing it against Nina. So maybe we can see Nina coming as well.
Yeah, I think Ursa could also be an open pick right now for TS Serenity. Ursa is a hero that can be played in a lot of positions as well. We've seen Xingqiu on the Ursa before. Yeah, I think it's just overall a good pick here. Although it's a bit early, but it's decent.
What's your thought on the Lich and the Vengeful Spirit?
Lich and Vengeful Spirit? Just some standard picks, nothing too special.
And Storm Spirit coming out for Serenity.
The typical Team Serenity picking their mid lane really early. That's also really special about their team. They like to pick their carries and their mid laners really early.
Didn't we see this hero as a jungler as well in the group stage for Sin-Q? He played in the
yeah,
lane.
yeah.
Well, still some questions to be answered for Serenity then in terms of the rest of the picks, but of course even where these heroes might be going. Now, OPTIC, what are they? Do they still need to focus a lot then right now in terms of making sure they can protect how they're going to work around this Phoenix?
That and also just controlling the storm. They don't want to run into the exact same problem they just saw Serenity have, right? You wind up with a draft that can't answer the Storm Spirit, but as mentioned, this one's just coming a lot earlier.
So what options do we have left on the table then? Is there a way where they can kind of kill two birds with one stone here as they're trying to protect their own strats here and also play up against the Storm Spirit?
I guess you would usually go with PPD's hero here because I have seen Zai play the Vengeful me more. Oh, actually, is that PPD on Phoenix?
It could be 33 on Phoenix.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
I say that the Storm pick is really...
We'll know, I guess, here.
Yeah. Still quite early on, obviously. They have to take their time.
I believe that is a 33 Phoenix.
That's
my guess.
The Storm pick is
it looks that way. And they can definitely mix it up depending, but yeah, more than likely, that'll be the case there.
So PPD on the Vengeful Spirit, 33 on Phoenix, and
Zion.
And
I don't think I have seen PPD on
more
the
than
Phoenix.
likely. That'll be the case.
Me neither. Maybe Zion's
PPD on the Vengeful Spirit, 33 on Phoenix, and
Zion
next.
All right.
I don't think I have seen.
Well, the Nyx comes out. Still quite a bit to work through. Still quite a bit of flexibility on either side. Serenity really needs to come out with something that's going to throw OPTIC.
Still quite a bit to work through. Still quite a bit of flexibility on either side. Serenity really needs to come out with something that's going to throw OPTIC Gaming off balance, perhaps.
They could consider that PL again just because it is up against Phoenix Egg, and the gyro feels pretty bad now at this point, and they already picked their mid, so that's what they're forced into. But I don't think it feels that incredible here, you know? Like, you can get rid of the Fire Spirits, but, you know, do you really want to go back on this PL after a game like that?
I think it's just a comfort pick, right?
Yeah.
We saw yesterday, VGJ, they first picked the TB. I think at these lower bracket matches, I think they just want to use what they're best at.
Yeah.
Going what they know best, of course. This could be their last game, so they want to show everything they have. Going back to that PL in this game, too, against OPTIC. So that answers some questions for Serenity and how they're matching up.
I like the Lich pick here with the PL because it gives you flexibility to go offlane with the Lich as well. So he can dodge a lot of the lanes where he goes. So he can have a better start compared to the last game.
I think this Tiny is actually going to transition to position 4.
Yeah.
Because we saw against Fnatic, they played a Tiny against the Phoenix. They know it's a bad matchup, so they immediately put the Tiny into position 4, and then they picked Sin-Q. What was he? He was Necro. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting that the offlane pool definitely has shrunk quite a bit, and it's moved into this different sort of a pool with like these Wraith Kings and Necrophoses because you tend to pick them up very early. But with the way that they draft in Team Serenity, if you have this option available for this last pick offlaner, it can kind of bring back some of those older offlaners in these situations where maybe you can abuse a weaker lane. That's how we're winding up with these Bat Riders, or even Brewmaster for some teams feels like he's better later on, but OPTIC have to kind of decide their last two heroes just right here from what they've seen from Serenity and maybe what kind of a pace they want their game to have.
So they definitely need a counter to the PL here.
Yep, Alchemist.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier as well, Alchemist.
It was either Alchemist or Spectre again, I'd say.
That's true. Spectre obviously showing up in that first game. So now to the last bands, and then we'll find out how both teams round out in this game number 2.
This already looks like a somewhat tough game for the Storm Spirit, too. Just like, what target are you looking to go on here? Even when you have an Orchid, you have to 100-0 this Phoenix, and then other heroes, maybe they're just going to get swapped out at some point during initiation, then it's more mana for another Zip. On top of the control elements. Yeah. I'd like a stun out of the position 1 here for Pycat.
Yep. Or a hero like Weaver, who's like self-sufficient, strong in lane, making space for the Alchemist, something like that.
It's already banned up there.
Yeah, a lot of them are banned too, like the Necrophos, the Mirana.
For example.
Okay. sorry.
Oh,
I don't know, not that many here comes to my mind for Serenity right here already.
I think a Void for Optic could also be very strong. Yeah. But there's another one of those heroes like you were mentioning, like the Veno fits that bill, right? Very self-sufficient.
And Husker
Ursa.
All right. Yep.
All right, that is definitely a full position Tiny now.
Well, yeah, the Ursa being locked in for Optic. That's it for their roundup. They keep the Ursa for themselves. The Husker was banned out once again as well. Serenity, what are they looking for here? What do we think the options are? Not too much time on the clock.
10 seconds remaining.
I think they were trying to pick Syncu's here, but like looking at it, don't you need a new mid hero that can do really well against the Alchemist?
And you want to put Syncu on the Storm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have the Lich PL in the offlane, sort of a deal?
Yeah, that's what I think. And then, well, Storm can go to jungle after level 4 or whatever, and then Tiny can have a better start.
Well, then something like a Bloodseeker.
Yeah, that's a lot of Chinese in favor here.
Yeah, Bloodseeker versus Alchemist. Good matchup.
Only 10 seconds left. Serenity really thinking through. Yeah. And there you go. It is going to be the
new Oracle,
wow.
boys.
That was like the first panel pop-off I've ever seen right there from KP. Okay, got it in there.
There we go. Well, there we have it. All 10 heroes are set. And now to find out perhaps a different angle on this draft, BSJ, what are your thoughts here?
I feel like there's going to be a lot of lane swaps this game, potentially. For the Ursa to chase after this Bloodseeker, I feel like there's a lot of good matchups for certain heroes and bad matchups for others, where it's very much going to affect how the laning stage goes, who's in whose lane. So we may see that at the start, but if we don't, Optic wants the Ursa against the Bloodseeker, and the Bloodseeker is going to try to avoid the Ursa either way. But we look at this 4-position Tiny, and I think that was the key factor for Serenity in their best-of-1 victory in the loser bracket. And I think that his main bolster that game was the courier snipe. So if he can manage to kill that courier once or twice on the Tiny, not only will it win the mid lane, but it also gives a lot of experience when you kill the flying courier. And that made him able to snowball and turn into a core in his game, and I think that'll be a crucial factor going into this one.
So perhaps quite a bit of cat and mouse here between all the different heroes as they match up.
Absolutely, but I feel like they're going to have a tough time dealing with Alchemist as the game goes on. They're going to have damage issues. They can't kill the egg very well, and they have these two beefy frontliners, and I'm going to have to go with Optic again on this one.
All right, Optic perhaps being favored as we go in. Well, we'll find out as we go into game number 2 in this best of 3 with Odie and Fogged.
Thank you very much, Choba. Yes, game 2 now coming up. Serenity versus Optic Gaming. We've just had the 2 drafts in. Bit of a change around. We're seeing Serenity this time being the team to get their hands on that Storm pick pretty early on at the 3rd pick. What sticks out to you, Fog, this time around? Do you feel like, are we going to have a closer game? Is there better potential for Serenity here in this game too?
I think the fact that they went with absolute comfort when I look at this draft. They love the Lich. They're one of the few teams that actually picked in the group stages. There's been a couple support Tinies, but we'll say that they love to play that support Tiny. And then they pick X9Q on one of his signature Storm Spirit, even GGG, even after going 0-7 on the PL in that last game, they're still going to pick it. They went for all their comfort because this could potentially be their last game.
Absolutely, yeah. But as you said, GGG may have had a bad game last game, but some of the other games that he has had here in the group stage particularly, he has had a very good time on. But we'll see how this one goes down. Of course, one game away from elimination, Serenity. They have to step it up as Optic Gaming. One game away from moving forward in this lower bracket of TIA.
Wonder how we're going to get those lane setups, like BSJ was saying. They want to get certain matchups, but at the moment it does look like Optic is going to they're just going to put the Alchemist in the mid lane with what he's itemized, but they could still vary and change it up instead of having that Ursa versus Bloodseeker, which is, of course, quite a favorable matchup for the Ursa. And this, can they invade? I guess they can start to invade if the Tiny has a good game, but I think a lot of this is going to be up to PYW to be able to invade and gank this Alchemist early. Triple stun by Zai.
Could have started to get a bit hairy from there as you took a blood rage by ZYD before they started to put the pressure on. They've got to be careful now as the wraparound comes in from Pycat and PPD straight away on top of XCJ. And that will be a first, but they want to give it to Quinn on CC's Alchemist and they'll get it. CCNC grabs the first blood.
Some bonus gold right off the bat, too. Already having that Grievous Greed. Very nice 5-man move there coming out from Optic, just catching them totally off guard.
Let's see if that shakes anything up, as you say, in terms of the laning decisions from the sides. As Optic will secure themselves the bottom 2 runes, and the top 2 runes will be taken by Serenity.
So they still are shifting the lanes a little bit, it looks like, on the side of Optic. They're having the Venge and the Phoenix, what it looks like, start top. Seems that they've got a good lane read. versus what Serenity is trying to do. As you know, they saw Xi and Q playing it. He has played in the safe lane too as the Storm Spirit, but he's taking it to the off lane with that tiny support.
Yeah, they do love this side lane Storm. It's had sort of mixed results.
I think these two are so important for Serenity. That Storm and that Tiny, this top lane is probably what I'm going to be looking at for the most part.
See how this mid matchup goes between the two of them. Of course, CCNC already with the Wraith Band out on top of the Quelling Blade. He's going to have his chance to have a pretty good
Bottom,
shot.
I think they realize they're going to have to kind of tank this. PL's going to get farmed, but we're going to see the manipulation of the wave come out from Psy right away so that Pycat doesn't get just over-harassed from the PL charge as well as just nukes that will come out.
PL's going to get farmed, but we're going to see
and they also want to counteract the denies that are going to come out. So if you can pull this wave, like Zai is doing right now, catch it between that second wave, then you can start to deny a lot of the creeps and fix that lane
denies that are going to come out from the lich. So if you can pull this wave,
sometimes we do see one of the
catch it
supports normally chase that full around, but it's not
then you
really
can
the case. XCJ just standing close to GGG.
Equilibrium.
He's already been beaten down pretty low.
Sometimes we do see
the Lich just wants to make sure
supports normally
get the
chase that full
sacrifice
round, but it's not really the case. XCJ just standing close to GGG. He's already been beaten down.
I like that
pretty
move a
low.
lot by Zai.
Yeah. The Lich just wants to make sure
fix the positioning of the lane for themselves. They have not blocked the pull, but they are just scouting the pull.
I like that move a lot by Zai.
Zai will interrupt this.
Fix the positioning of the lane for themselves because they have
Serenity
not blocked the pull, but they are just scouting
that
the pull.
control back of the momentum of this bottom lane, and GGG being chased down.
Will interrupt
Pop the doppelganger to jump himself away from Pycat.
Yeah, playing melee heroes versus Ursa is always quite painful. Just those Fury Swips stay on you for so long. 20 seconds can be pretty frustrating in the late phase.
Yeah,
Top we saw Serenity, they did get a successful side pull.
Those Fury Swips stay on you for so long.
Good chunk of experience, so
20 seconds can be pretty frustrating.
Zai goes round with the wraparound stun. XCJ immediately TPs out. Just not to mess around. The little GGG still has the doppelganger. Will be enough to keep him safe. Does pop the south.
With the wraparound stun, XCJ immediately TPs out.
Zai.
Just not to mess around. The little GGG still has the doppelganger.
Set of aggressive action on this bottom lane, enabling Pycat's Ursa.
And they can always know which one that real PL is after the doppel, of course, because those Fury Swipes and can't move that. Just like a lot of those, lots of those passives.
And they can always know which one that real PL is after the doppel, of course, because those Fury Swipes and can't move that. Just like a lot of those.
Going to get the chance to do more so. As he is getting that sort of sizable XP advantage. You see 15 for 8 against the 9 for 2. Keeping a very good hold of that mid lane in the 1v1 there, favouring the Bloodseeker. As sort of expected on the early levels.
Yeah, that armor, you just have such a high armor advantage. Your sustain is always fine. You get free denies under that acid spray over and over again.
As sort of expected on the early levels.
Great pick.
Yeah, that armor, you just have such a high armor advantage. Your sustain is always fine. You get free denies under that acid spray over and over again.
But it's for the most part just been ZYD having maybe
great pick.
A few stat, maybe like a little bit of bonus damage from it, but
they're trying
it's
to throw
enough.
as much harassment as well too on those side lanes to keep that thirst up, but it's for the most part just been ZYD having
That's top. PYW almost level 3. That's usually when we see those tinies really start to go for those aggressive plays forward and going for kills when you have 1 point in each of those skills.
As top PYW almost level 3. That's usually when we see those tinies really start to go for those aggressive plays forward and going for kills.
Sort of first 3 minutes of play, it's still early days, but it's already looking better than the lanes did in game 1 for Serenity. They'll try for 33. With the toss back onto the Vengeful Spirit, looking towards PPD.
Still early days,
do they have the damage and pop the Fairy Fire? They do have a tree throw as well. Not quite enough to bring PPD down. He's able to heal back up.
That was that level 3 that we've seen so often now in these supports. But from PYW mostly, as soon as he gets 3 wants to get aggressive. And you throw out a lot of pressure, you get those thirst stacks, you enable ZYD.
So often now in these support
shut down CCNC.
PYW mostly.
So the XP difference, and then what's looking at is halfway through level 4 CCNC, and on ZYD about halfway through level 5, so pretty much a full level advantage coming up soon.
High base damage and 3 denies under acid.
Up top, Xingqiu trying to procs there onto 33 with the right clicks. PYW actually finding PPD very low. He's got the toss and the right clicks to get the kill. PYW finds PPD. Xingqiu not quite able to get 33 as 33 will dive away. Does have to TP back to base though, so this side lane Storm on the aggressive dual lane working out very well so far for Serenity.
Yeah, and look at the mid lane. CCNC actually just has to leave because of all that pressure that's coming on top from that tiny. It's just leaving everybody too low. ZYD just has full thirst stacks.
CCNC actually just has to leave.
The bounties will come out as well as that shrine.
From that tiny. It's just leaving everybody too low, and ZYD just has full thirst stacks.
If CCNC that nice.
The bounties will come out as well as that shrine, and that'll be able to claim.
Xingqiu here, of course, buys the ball, pops a couple of charges, and is able to fill it back up there with that bouncy ring.
Chunk of gold.
Able to return to the lane, fully ready to continue fighting. They do have to do something about this mid lane. As we say, ZYD just getting massively out of control. 31-21 denies at 5 minutes in. An absolute beast in this mid lane.
Full 2-level advantage.
ZYD just getting massively out of control. 31-21
CCNC needs to have side behind him, otherwise there is the risk of ZYD just straight up finding kills with a rupture.
Full 2-level advantage.
They have to dual end this Bloodseeker from now on.
CCNC needs to have side.
They want to run the risk of CCNC going down.
Yeah, he's got a TP though. Sure. Depending on how many thirst stacks or any rotation comes out.
Unless they want to run the risk of CCNC going
down. But right now it does look
he's got a TP
quite
though.
Serenity favored. They're off-lane Storm, Tiny, excellent. PL is getting a great amount of farm, and of course that Bloodseeker's doing great. So they are definitely feeling quite happy.
Quite Serenity favored. They're off-lane Storm, Tiny, doing excellent. The PL is getting a great amount of farm.
Moment sort of the best lane, as we can see, for OPTIC being the bottom lane Pycat. Finding the CS pretty much even with that. GGC's PL, top lane PYW, finding CCNC in the jungle.
Might be in trouble here.
Sides there with the wraparound, finds the opening stun. PPD closing the gap as well with the magic missile, as the three of them will find him. CCNC able to get some more money.
He might be in trouble here.
Sides there with the wraparound, finds the opening stun.
Yeah, the fact that he's gotten those two kills, he might be 22 last hits behind the Bloodseeker, but he has the same net worth.
Into the bank.
Just optimist things.
Yeah, the fact that he's gotten those two kills, he might be 22 last hits behind the Bloodseeker, but he has the same net worth.
Top lane Zyme just dies on both PYW and Jinky. So not looking to make a play on his own, just trying to give the important information for whereabouts at the TP location.
PYW also get a D-word quick on that high ground. I think I've seen more bottle refilling at TI this year than ever. Because every time I see somebody die, they always are porting an info up. We saw it happen just there.
I think I've seen more bottle refilling at TI this year than ever. Because every time I see somebody die, they always are porting an info up.
Despite the dual lane as well, he's going to make good timing on that. At level 6
any situation where they die, they go fill the bottle.
He's low.
Despite the dual lane as well, he's going to make good timing on that.
CCNC isn't low enough to spot him out from a distance. CCNC will be fine.
Die. We'll get ruptured. Has a TP available if he wants to go for it.
It's pretty tanky. We'll go for it after the reflector with Spike Cap as bottom lane Pycat. Finding XCJ. XCJ will slow him down. Pycat, one more touch will do it, and he gets it.
Solo kill. Pycat. Support there. He's hiding around the tree line.
XCJ will slow him. He's going to get it. One more touch will do it, and he gets it.
Solo kill by Pycat. Onto the support there. Just hiding around the tree line with those phase boots.
Up. PYW. A turn with the Avalanche. Doesn't actually connect onto 33 or PPD. Will go back with the toss. Looking to juke out the Ray. Coming out for 33. Can he keep himself alive? He can't. The Fiery Spirit finishes him off. 33. Icarus dives to the side and goes straight for the TP out. Will make it away from the counter rotation from CYD as he looks to come into the lane and help out. CYW potentially get some kills in return.
Man, they really do like to do that on this team. With the Tiny, when they have Tiny and the Storm Spirit, they just send that Storm to the jungle and Tiny farm the lane.
She's already used the doppelganger. He's trying to hide. Can he juke his way around the tree line? He can. He's still alive for now. They can't go to a Pycat. Does have the Earth Shock to finish up the kill, but now he's underneath the tower. Jinky controlling him, slowing him down here with these right clicks as Pycat pops the stick charges. It will not keep him alive as they punish the dive there from OPTIC. They lose GGG, but they get 2 in return.
With these right clicks as Pycat pops the stick charges, it will not keep him alive. As they punish the dive there from OPTIC.
So what's this going on? CCNC
they get 2 in return.
Continuing to just farm up the camps, work his way closer and closer towards the relics. It's 1200 towards it at the moment. He is top net worth.
I think OPTIC has to just keep going to lanes. Just keep showing your faces with these 4 heroes in the laning phase and just allow CCNC to sit in the jungle. Even if you might be giving up some kills, as long as you're putting pressure on and not allowing them to invade,
these 4 heroes in the laning phase and just allow CCNC to sit in the jungle.
There's a key to everything on OPTIC strategy.
Even if you might be giving up some kills, as long as you're putting pressure on and not allowing them to invade, then I think you're doing it well.
Good lane. They push the ZYD very close to hitting level 10 on his Bloodseeker.
As it tends to be when you do have one.
Incredibly well leveled down to the way that he handled that mid lane. Denies.
Very close to hitting level 10 on his Bloodseeker.
Bounty Hunter probably one of the more important things versus an Optimus as well. Just try to control those. That's probably why they have those double bottles on both Tiny and Storm. GGG.
As Doppel coming out soon.
We'll be able to back himself away.
One of the more important things
he's coming in from the storm.
Just sort of turning into deep. Look at the setup as Jinku zip forward. 33 yet to hit the level 6, so will be bursted. No chance for a supernova. Pycat already using the array, so there's still a chance to drag him back with the bullets. This is going to be a buyback from 33, but Pycat cannot be saved. The Chain Frost comes out from XCJ and finishes off the Ursa.
So there's still a chance to drag him back with the bullets. This is going to be a buyback from 33, but Pycat cannot be saved.
We really are. We're setting up one for BSJ, so we're going to see a lot of movement from lane to lane. We're certainly seeing it in this first 10 minutes. TP rotations always at the availability of both sides. They react to one another. 5-5, 1K lead at the moment for Serenity. Things already going a million times better for them in here in this game 2 compared to the start of game 1.
Yeah. It's really cool how they play this aggressive style with either the Storm jungling or the Storm just looking for pick kills all over the place while the Tiny takes a lane, or vice versa. We're going to see the Storm take a lane while Tiny starts looking for some ganks. Once he gets his levels built up, either the Storm jungling or the Storm just looking for pick kills all over the place while the Tiny takes a lane, or vice versa. We're going to see the Storm take a lane while Tiny starts looking for some ganks. Sure, we see people leave lanes and give supports the lane a lot, but in the way that they're doing it, it's pretty much every single game when they have these type of.
Sure, we see people leave lanes and give supports the lane a lot, but in the way that they're doing it,
go for that invade. They did use Chain Frost down bottom, but they've got a level 6 Tiny, and they want to try to find CC.
There we go. Get eyes onto him. CC lose the chemical rays. They'll turn towards the mid. Zai actually finding the setup, but there's the avalanche from PYW onto 2. Turns with the dodge onto Zai. Zai has the spike carapace out. Stand his place, get out of the blood right. 33 going for the X. Serenity, can they take it down? No, the fire spirit's on. Here comes the Soul, can he get it? He can! They get it in time. They get the final touchdown. DQ looking for more. Drags in a second. Zai still able to get himself back underneath tier 1. Tree throw will come out, but not enough damage to bring down the next assassin. The 33, they're ever so close to getting that supernova off. They found the last right click just in time. Looked like he was going to get away with it.
He got the fire spirits on the 2 melee heroes, but yeah, the glitch comes in, gets one attack, and of course
they found the last right click just in time. Looked like he was going to get away with it.
He got the fire spirits on the 2 melee heroes, but
yeah, continue to grow this blade mail completely. Very quick timing. ZYD, a massive issue. Sort of predicted by KPN on the panel. You know, he said the Bloodseeker is going to work fantastic in terms of lane matchup and in terms of game plan, and we're certainly seeing it so far as ZYD.
Sort of was predicted by KPN on the panel, you know, that he said the Bloodseeker, it's going to work fantastic in terms of
not really the greatest, but he wants to have an early timing, and they want to just keep playing fast. They want to just keep...
He can do so much damage to the Blade Mail in particular versus that Phoenix. Versus Ursa, it's not really the greatest, but he wants to have an early timing, and they want to just keep playing fast. They want to just keep OPTIC off their foot, off just free farming with this Alchemist. CCNC's still been doing so, but they're trying to invade as much as possible. As we see them try to smoke again, they get some more Zappa.
Straight in they go with the Rupture. No chance for Peter to react.
He's okay tanking the gank a bit there for his out, because they maybe would have found CCNC there if they were able to actually pierce through. And GGG getting all the space in the world while his team does this. As bottom, he's pressuring the tower and going for that, of course.
Get to see GGG just be able to play his game as he was heavily shut down in game 1 by that Zai 33 Brewmaster Vengeful Spirit lane.
Yeah, he's level 10 in this game already. Like last game, he was level 3 when the Brewmaster hit 6, so he's off to a way better start. Well, Phoenix is only level 7 right now.
See top, they are looking towards Jinku, but it's obviously a very hard kill for them to get. They can get the stun into the damage of Pike, and it may be enough, but that's how they do it as well. Remnant, Carapace, bam, that's enough lockdown. Nice setup from Zai. Getting Pinecap that kill.
PYW is about to have the Blink Dagger finish up on the support Tiny. That could catch OPTIC off guard. Mid.
CNC.
There's the egg.
They will go for the egg here, but they will turn, and with the right clicks, they'll be able to take it down again. Serenity dealing very well with the 33 Supernovas as they'll find that tier 1 tower mid.
Committing a bit too far forward and kind of expecting that his Fire Spirits would do the work, but 3 heroes there they could actually get. I think one of them might not have been hit by the Fire Spirits.
GGG. As far as CCC, GGG's very deep here, and he is pretty much entirely alone. Doppelganger down to low ground. Zai, Pycat, they're ready and waiting for him. He's got to be careful how deep he goes, GGG, especially past the shrine. OPTIC are always going to be able to bring him back up.
33 plays a little too aggressive, and then GGG plays a little too aggressive too.
Obviously, whilst this has all been going down, sure, we've seen sort of 33 dying and such, but the space has constantly been there for CCNC. He's very close to his relic, and again, the setup, Spike Carapace off the back of the Remnants. Jinku, he has to be careful farming aggressively like that. Zai, you've just got to expect that he is going to be there with that Spike Carapace setup.
I think they're playing a little bit too split up versus the next assassin. They can have one person split, but when they start having two people split up like that, it can be pretty problematic as PYW doesn't steal that bounty rune from CNC.
Good, maybe look for the toss setup. Doesn't quite manage to keep the vision, keep the range.
They get the ward though. They do have high ground vision for now, but he takes that one out.
And he'll pay with his life.
Yep.
Straight in PYW with the blink combo. Another pick up for the Tiny. 5, 2, and 1. Getting a lot done across the map.
But CNC has that Radiance at a very quick timing still in this game.
Same time, GGG. Diffusal blade complete. And couldn't agree more. 51%, 49%, 50 to 50. It absolutely is. It's hovering at that point. On one side, the Alchemist, he's in a good place. He's not in an amazing place. This isn't sort of totally out of control, but he's not been knocked off his game, as you say.
Yeah,
Gets the relic at a respectable time, not a world-breaking time, but he has it.
Yeah, it's still pretty fast, to be fair, because he was put under pressure under a hard lane, right? That Bloodseeker matchup, not fun for the Alch. But Serenity, they do have 3 heroes farming pretty well. And even their Tiny support is ground ahead of Phoenix on the opposing team. Zai just constantly stalking the Storm Spirit.
Zai, he's Jinku. If he presses Q, he's probably going to die. And this time, well, Zai will not wait for that. Just go just a bit of damage at the same time on side. They found CCZ, gets swapped out. But the burst is high enough. Serenity finding the Alchemist. A big kill for them to get 33. Goes for a Supernova, but it's well out of range of any of them. Enter Serenity. Oh, the Storm!
The Spike Carapace.
GQ just zips into his own demise. He goes straight in with the Bull Lightning. They have the stuns out. Now, Serenity, they've got to be careful. They've lost their Storm Spirit. Usually it's pretty low. The Spike Carapace there from Zai holding PYW back. PYW gets the blink up with the Sunray from 33. Finds GGG. Looks towards XCJ. Pycat's in with the blink. Gets the double kill. As Jinkyu's got to calm down a little bit on this Storm. He's making some plays that are costing the team pretty heavily.
Zai's doing so much work for his team just by clicking Spike Carapace in all these situations, but always being in the right place at the right time too. And his skill build, going for, I mean, he is level 10, so he's very high level on the Nyx, but having those 4 points in that Spike Carapace, low cooldown, always able to get the follow-up stuns afterwards. And now they've got a gold advantage in this game with an Alchemist. But what a toss back to start it.
Oh yeah, and Pycat as well off the back of that, very close to having a Basher on top of the Blink Dagger. So the life of Jinkyu's Storm gets even harder.
Zai again, just giving so much info for his team over and over again. Let's come forward, Serenity. She just wants to get that farm going on those Ancients.
I really feel sort of against this Nyx Assassin, they've got to get more sentries down, right? Because at the moment, I'm looking across the map, they've only pretty much got 1 sentry out and down.
They were prioritizing getting PYW that Blink Dagger, so he wasn't really buying anything, so it's been all on XCJ to buy all of them. You see he's actually queued up like 5 or 6 sentries.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right. They need to have them out. They'll get the Blink here, PYW onto 33, not quite enough burst damage, as 33 is able to Icarus dive away. They'll pick up a tree, they won't chuck it out. You know, the damage will not be enough. 33 gets himself away. He's starting to head towards top. But with the ward down, OPTIC Gaming will know about this movement.
They need to have invasive wards in this game. Just trying to hunt whenever that Alchemist does back up and resort to any of that defensive farming. And now they will unify themselves up top.
Zai, you can see him already ready to lead out again, and there we have it, immediately in on top of the PL. They look for the Magic Missile onto PYW as well. Chain Frost is out from XCJ. They're trying to beat down onto Pycat. They do toss Pycat away, but PYW is pretty deep now. Zai's still there on the sidelines. PYW turns towards Pycat, but Pycat gets the slow off. The Fury Swipe stacking up. PYW is still alive for now. CCC with the blink. Jumps in, gets the stun out onto XCJ. The Wave of Terror and the Acid Spray melting through the armor. OPTIC cleaning up the fight. Team Serenity, they had an okay laning stage, but they keep going out, as you say, totally alone. Zai just able to outplay them every single time. This Nyx Assassin pick this game has just done so much to disrupt any sort of movement from Team Serenity.
Zai in this series is just all over the place. He's always where he needs to be, and him and Pycat seem to be on like the same page. Because every time Zai's there, Pycat's ready for that follow-up. Even versus heroes like that PL versus that PL or that Storm, Zai has enough control with that extended amount of stun that he has. He has 5.2 seconds of disable if he gets both off.
Do have the sentry down here. Zai, he's been found. They managed to finally see him. He does get the spike carapace out. Can he actually get himself away? He cannot. So they will kill off Zai.
He does get the bounty rune as he dies.
See, actually around the pit, Pycat's able to find the opening onto GGG. Gets the bash. GGG's gone. They get the jump as well on the BYW. 2 dead around the pit. 33's chasing down for more. He's got his eyes on XCJ. The Fire Spirit's out onto the Lich as well as XCJ will tick out. Optic Gaming may have lost Zai, but they take a confident fight around the pit. Xinq's able to get in and on top of PPD. But Roshan is there for the taking. Pycat's into the pit. He's got the basher. He's got the lifesteal. And with 3 dead on Serenity, very unlikely they're going to be able to do anything about this.
Yeah, there's still Supernova available too. Been killed a few times, but dies way too fast on this Rush for them to be able to contest for heroes down.
And now things are getting scary for Serenity. Optic now 5k ahead. They have this Alchemist. CCNC sitting in the absolute top spot. The net worth falling off drastically away from Serenity's lead that they did have coming out of the laning stage, as this whole mid game has been Optic Gaming through and through.
Yeah, they have to commit so much forward for Zai, but Zai does get the bounty rune before he dies, so it gets his team some gold and also splits up the map, right? They have 2 of their cores down bottom ganking this Nyx assassin while there's a fight going on around the Roche pit.
I mean, what is sort of the best game plan now for Serenity? Every single sort of move they try and make does seem to be dealt with very well by Optic Gaming. Is there any sort of itemization they can wait upon that could change things around?
It almost feels like they need a gem because of how obnoxious Zai's being, but they don't really have the gold to go for it. I think just getting ready with more sentry.
Zai is just setting up so much here for the team. 1, 2, and 11. They've got to just go all in on the sentry investment. They've started to do so. Sentries are coming out. We're seeing sort of 2 in the bottom jungle, 2 at sort of the entrance to the top of that area of the map. They have to play around these because Zai, it really does feel like he's getting away with so much on an Nyx assassin to the point where, sure, he's playing amazingly, but it feels like Serenity, they just don't know how to deal with it.
In the last 5 minutes, they've just been giving kills over and over again on their important cores. We see GGG is 0 and 6. XIQ also, he's 4 and 3. He got a couple kills in the laning phase, but then afterwards just kept getting picked off. Really just, I mean, Zai show. Yeah.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
More and more sentries are getting put down by Serenity.
They need to just buy as many as possible. Yeah. Like PYW's even starting to buy some.
They'll see him coming in here, but there we have it. That's how easy it is. You know, you buy detect. I say that he's still alive for now. He shoots himself up. Is he really going to live? The Chain Frost will finish him. They get him with the Chain Frost, but they lose both ZYD and XCJ for it. So Zai, he'll take that.
Yep, they've got the BKB on the Bloodseeker, but gets instantly disabled before able to get it off. And yeah, they had sentries this time, but
it may be a little too late with sort of these sentries out. There's already this 9k lead for Optic. As we keep saying, just the space and the kills that Zai set up. And it wasn't just 1, it wasn't just 2, it was 1 after another for a good sort of 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes of the game.
Look what 33's doing. He's actually got his Vitality booster locked so it doesn't finish that Aeon disc. So if he does get gone on, he can hesitate and then assemble it.
Now that's smart.
That's really smart.
That's smart.
But they're in a very dominant position as now they're looking to siege the tower. They've got a full Manta on CCNC, getting close to him as Shivas, which Serenity's really lacking the damage to deal with this Alchemist now, who has double the net worth of the Bloodseeker that won the lane.
He's absolutely massive CCNC. Have an orchid picked up on the stop on the side. PYW to find the opening, but again, Zai lives. It's not enough damage to burst in. Pycat in on top of the Tiny there. Xinq will finish off Zai. Turns towards 33, but there it goes. He unlocks it, assembling the Aeon Disc, goes forward with the Icarus dive, has the Supernova from the high ground. ZYD is fighting back, does manage to finish off CCNC there with the BKB. The Supernova successful. Xinq still alive for now. He's low on health. He's got a bit of mana left. Does have to be careful with 33, looking for the Sunray connection as he zips himself away. ZYD starting to a lot low. They are low on Optic. He's found a 3rd. He's got the double kill. They're kiting up Pycat. GGG with that diffusal blade, burning the mana. Pycat getting slowed down. The Blood Bright will kick in. There'll be a buyback coming out from PPD. He's coming across looking to make sure that they don't go any further onto Pycat, as Pycat will be allowed to run back to safety. But Team Serenity, sort of against the odds, they're able to fight back very well. The BKB coming online for ZYD. He was able to sort of get his job done, just run around the fight, create chaos, and get these kills. Both him and GGG just swarming hero after hero.
Getting so many thirst stacks in the fight. They take out CCNC, and from there, it gets difficult. We just see the Ursa getting cutting up over and over again from that PL. And even though we saw that, that cute usage, as well as that Supernova from 33, it wasn't enough for them to take the fight.
PPD will find XCJ, swats him back into the claws of Pycat. Pycat gets himself a quick kill onto the Lich. Still maintaining that lead, Optic Gaming. But Serenity certainly showing us how they can fight despite being behind.
That the Shadow Blade finished. All right, GGG does have a way to protect himself now a bit. But I do believe that they are carrying Sentry on Optic. They've won Sentry. Not the... Oh.
We've got Dust as well on side.
Okay, yeah, he does have Dust. And he's already looking for GGG.
He is. There's the setup. CCNC with the concoction. Out it goes, but he's not quick enough. CCNC holding on to it for a little bit too long. As the time will be there for GGG to jump out with the doppelganger.
Zai instantly vendettas and continue here as Serenity. They are all grouped up. They are going to look for their own smoke. Where's that Orchid that we saw revealed in that last fight? An Arcane Room too.
See what they can find with the smoke. Can they catch Optic Gaming off guard? There's a full solar crest picked up on 33. Zai heads across. Put the sentry down. They do have eyes upon him. He's keeping himself at the edge. PYW tries to the cover of the spy carpets down. CCNC straight in away with the concoction onto the Lich. That's the BXCJ down. The Yule Scepter throwing him up into the air. The Abyssal Blade from Pycat to follow up with the control onto Xingqiu. PYW getting dove upon by 33 with the Icarus dive as Optic find 3. GGG. Also being eyed up by 33, is able to doppelganger down to the low ground, but again, Optic Gaming taking these fights, Zai's positioning, disrupting the smoke attempt by Serenity, and allowing them jump to be made. Pycat with that newly picked up Abyssal Blade, instantly on top of that Storm Spirit after Yule setup from Zai.
That's, I mean, Zai, but we just keep saying Zai. Breaks the smoke, sets up perfectly for his team, it's just all over the game. Next man. They go for that high ground. Storm respawning soon.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And they'll play careful.
Just the amount of farm that some of these heroes have. CCNC, of course, still sailing ahead at the top. He's going to be working his way towards that Octarine.
Yep, once he gets the Octarine, then he can start gifting those Aghanims to his team, and they've got everybody who can get an Aghanims in this game.
Oh,
and they're all
they do.
Pretty damn good. Even the Supernova one can be pretty useful. Just reset a teammate in a fight.
Certainly.
Or save a teammate, of course. And they've got the Venge too, so they've got the swap. A lot of different ways to save each other once they get those items.
I don't imagine if the game goes on to the point where the time is there for the Aghs to come out. Who gets it? It's got to be the Ursa, right? You get Pycat as Aghs.
More than likely, yeah. They are all really good though. Zai continues to put the pressure on in Serenity. It forces them to kind of stick together too, which, you know, the XP has been going back and forth, but because they have to stick together so much versus that Nyx Assassin, it does hurt them a bit. Looking for him. Just to get the Carapace onto the input. They have the stun follow-up.
Oh no! It's Quinn! Doesn't quite get in, and he stuns himself. They're actually going to zip on to it, but it's a bit of a make because Pycat's there with the Abyssal. Xingqiu comes back in for that. Zai, still alive, finally gets taken down. There's going to be the buyback here from Xingqiu. They're looking for the big team fight turnaround. Can they get it off? The Sunray there onto PYW as the dive forward into the Supernova. Comes out for 33. ZYD looking to chase down Pycat. Can't quite finish off the Ursa as Pycat survives. Xingqiu has to be carefully brought back for this one. Does come back in on top of Pycat with the zipper. CCNC's there with the concoction. The bash comes out. They lose Pycat. ZYD moving incredibly fast at the moment with the amount of stacks that he has built up from the third. Going for CCNC. The Solar Crest with 33 out onto CCNC. CCNC will be disarmed. ZYD going to head himself away now. There's 3 love for both of them. GGG still alive. Trying to sneak away under the Shadow Blade. Will he get away? They don't have detection down around here at the moment, so GGG should be fine. As he heads up towards the top, they are sort of moving in his direction, but it looks like the fight will end as it were. As that buyback from Xingqiu certainly sort of allowing them to get some of the kills in response, but he does end up going down a second time. So the big heroes stay alive at the end of it all. CCNC standing tall.
They were trying to take advantage because CCNC at the start of the fight, he actually didn't have Chemical Rage for about 20 seconds, as we're going to see up on this one. Of course, stunning himself too. You see the Storm sits forward heavily, but with Pycat in perfect position, just that quick blink, Abyssal Blade, they take out the Storm. And you see CCNC's being careful, hiding on the sidelines, hiding himself, because that Chemical Rage is not quite ready, as you see on the top. That ulti, not available. 33 able to position himself to kind of separate the fight too with the supernova right here. Made it a little bit awkward for them, and we see 5 seconds till that chemical rage, and then OPTIC starts to feel very confident in the fight.
But we are certainly seeing in these drawn out fights the potential of ZYD.
Yes.
As he gets stronger and stronger with the thirst.
Yeah,
if he can sort of get that next big major item, he is going to be a real problem in these team fights.
Yeah, and also GGG too, because he's been able to weave inside of the fights because of that Shadow Blade. He is 0-6 still on the PL, but once he gets a heart, if he does go into that Shadow Blade usage, he can reset his life over and over again and try to look for those fights.
See mid.
Oh, he's trying to play with them a bit there.
And that dust! The dust coming out, so CCNC has the vision. I think it was Zai. Zai from the low ground popping that dust, making sure the vision was there for CCNC to land that concoction.
GGG actually, he doppeled forward, and then he sent his illusion backwards, and he kept his hero actually in the main zone. They just went on him. They seem to just know.
It's going to be disarmed here, ZYD, of course, with the halberd.
They have a swap. They do.
PPD closing. ZYD back into the claws. Oh, Pike and the patch is there. ZYD, can he run himself away from this? The sun ray taking him down, as well as that urn will be enough. Oh no, when he's still alive. Is he going to live?
Oh, he does survive.
He is going to be fine for now. Obviously, the rest of his team not too great. He's lost a couple of teammates. He will look to lifesteal himself. Back up, but Pycat and PPD there into the pit. And they should get away with this one pretty quickly. He is. Can Zai find anything here? It's only PYW here at the moment. PYW will look to skip the creep waves. Zai with the spike character setup of the combo. The TP in from 33 as they will slowly but surely find PYW. Cannot run himself away from this one. Another setup from Zai. As obviously whilst that was all going on, Roshan going down. They get themselves the components of it. Pycat now holding the cheese. CCNC holding that Aegis.
And he has an Aghanims finished on top of the Octarine.
19k lead for OPTIC here in game 2. Team Serenity's tournament hopes and dreams on the line here.
It's just so hard for them to take these fights into how tanky OPTIC really is. This Alchemist is, of course, double net worth of that Bloodseeker, as we've been mentioning. And just posing such a threat in that front line. I mean, Zai is just... We don't need to say it anymore. Putting so much pressure on the map as this next assassin. We see Ursa approaching Alchemist, and we are Aghanims on Ursa now.
Outside the pit, outside the base, sorry, he's down Zai. Ready to keep tracks on any members of Serenity looking to leave that base.
The only thing Pycat really has to be careful here is about being silenced by this. They can bring him down and find him, even if he's got that Aghanim, or he's got BKB, he can't obviously use that in range. But he will be building toward that next.
See, the trouble is Zippin gets the Vortex, but the Aegis is a bit of a tricky target. I mean, ZYD does pop the Rupture upon him, but no chance of following that up.
Definitely not. They're building some time though for GGG to push top. And he will be approaching toward that heart as well, so he gets the tower. Maybe we'll force some reactions since he's already starting to make his way up there. Q has to be careful when he goes for those as far as zips versus Pycat with an Abyssal.
And you saw PPD there as well, prepping for sort of that swap.
They're going to be ready for it next time.
It's another tower taken by OPTIC. Well, Vlad's finished on the bench.
The build weave.
GG. They are starting to move towards him, but immediately TP's out. Will not be caught out by OPTIC. GG is, as we saw earlier, just getting that push on the top lane.
He got some space.
Very close to having a heart. 200 gold away. Closing in that level 22.
OPTIC all about this map control right now. They can look for fights at any moment pretty much, because they've got this Octarine, they've got the Aegis. They're so strong right now around this Alc. They're going to look for those bounties soon. Gaining that lead more and more so. They're definitely feeling very confident in it. See them smoked up.
Serenity pretty much entirely up on the high ground. So So we have the heart finish now for GGG. Same time, BKB is there for Pike.
You know, we even fight, as long as they can keep those thirst stacks for ZYD, we can see that he still kind of can deal some damage in the engagement, but still seems like quite a mountain to climb for them to come back. And it's 22,000 gold, 1,000 experience per optic.
How well can Serenity defend the base? CCNC, straight in he goes. He's getting healed up as well by the Sunray. Pops the Manta Star, does get straight on top of ZYD, and ZYD just gets ripped to pieces. Will buy back straight away. The Chain Frost bouncing between Optic. PPD with the swap, trying to keep Pycat safe as there's the Supernova out for 33. GGG looks to get on top of it, trying to take it down, but now we're back off. He's on the retreat, the Supernova's going to catch him. They have the dust. Zai's there with the stun. That's going to be GGG taken out of the game for 75 seconds. He does not have buyback. There's now Optic, ready for more. Xingqiu comes in with a big zip. It's not quite enough damage to get any of the kills there. PYW getting bashed. Pycat finds another. Zipping again from Xingqiu. He gets shielded up. Do they have the control at the back of the Yules? They do. The stun comes down for Zai. They hold him in place. Xingqiu's out. Does have buyback available. But the bottom racks looking to be in trouble as Optic push on forward. Serenity just having to keep themselves back in the fountain. As Optic will clean up the bottom set of racks, and with all tier 2s already taken, they can look for more.
Aegis got reclaimed. CCNC's perfectly fine. He was more than healthy. Forced the buyback from the Stormhex. Thank you.
What can he do? He goes into on the mid lane, looks to clean it out. Zips back in. Fortification popped as well. Just trying to buy time before the rest of the teammates are back in on Serenity. 20 seconds until GGG's back in. As a second set of racks starts to go down to get the swap, ZYD straight into the bash. The Abyssal drops down, Xingqiu will zip in with the Vortex, zips back out, but now ZYD gone for 100. More procs off. Zai does get taken out by GGG, but the bash is there from Pycat into the concoction. That's ZYD gone as well. Without buyback, as Optic Gaming still up as a full 5-man as Zai bites back in. They move towards the top lane. Serenity with just 3 left alive. Can they really hold back Optic? Their last chance here at TIA. Serenity, after an up and down run through the group stages and trying their best to move forward for the lower bracket, looks like they may have finally met the green wall that's ready to stop them. Optic control onto the PYW. He's surrounded. The Supernova's out again for 33 as PYW will buy back straight away. But there's still no Storm, no Bloodseeker. The top racks getting taken down by Optic. As Serenity, they may give it one last go. They won't. They'll tap out. GG is called. Optic Gaming take the series 2-0 and will be moving forward once again here in this lower. And Serenity have reached the end of the road here at TIA.
They seem to have a pretty good aggressive playstyle going on for the first 15 minutes, but then they hemorrhage so much.
Sort of the draft from Optic Gaming, and as you say, that play, sort of that 5 to 15 minutes of gameplay where Zai, as soon as he hit that level 6, the amount of action that he set up, it was ridiculous. Serenity were just not ready at all to play against sort of the pace of the game that Zai was playing on this Nyx Assassin. So many kills set up, at least about 10 of them, to the point at which Serenity, they were 9k gold behind, and they have very little options in terms of being able to make a recovery. As Serenity knocked out of the competition, Optic Gaming will be moving forward, and we'll see more of them very, very soon here at the International 2018. But for now, we'll pass you back to the analysts to wrap up the 2-0 victory for Optic.
Yes, thank you very much, Odie Pixel and Fog.
Their road ends
Serenity, their road
OPTIC,
ends
though,
moving
forward,
and
OPTIC,
though, moving forward, and we have freshened up the panel as well. We have freshened up the panel as well. We got Cinnamon, we got Trend and myself as well. Hello. OPTIC taking their leave as well.
Taking their leave as well.
That wasn't
I'll clap for your trip.
But what a performance. That was
What
very dominating. We heard BSJ at the start of the series. It's going to be very tough for Serenity to kill the egg, to kill the Alchemist. And that was exactly what happened, Trent.
Yeah, I think you saw Serenity starting to find that comfort zone where like it was getting a little chaotic, and there were a lot of these like fights in the mid game and storms zipping around. You got a Bloodseeker running. That's the kind of stuff that you're looking for this kind of scrappier team to maybe take the game. But OPTIC definitely found a way to stabilize there. Got back into their game phase. Found some very good eggs. The first couple not so good for 3-3. I think you had a hard time finding that proper positioning with all the move speed and everything. But by the end of it, they just looked to be outclassing.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of just breaking it down. They really just played better in every aspect of the game, really. I would say there's plenty of moments in that game where you look at the moves that Serenity are making and how they're combining their spells and what fights they choose to take compared to OPTIC. There's a couple of moments that just have me going like, what just happened, you know? Whereas OPTIC, they seem very much on the same page. They have a very good idea of how they want to play it, as the cast has pointed out multiple times. The Nyx Assassin kind of leading, giving them that information that they take advantage of the Serenity team with, and that's all it took.
What's your thoughts on the series, March?
Draft. I felt like how they played in the laning phase, they definitely showed they have skills to win against OPTIC. But picking Storm too early, and then I think I have seen multiple cases where the PL Alchemist relationship with Alchemist being picked after the PL, or picking the PL after and then banning the Alchemist earlier in the series, and the synergy between like Weaver, Osa with Alchemist, those kind of stuff. So in general, I felt like OPTIC had a better draft.
Coming into this series, coming into this international, Serenity, unknown team, they came pretty far for a team of relative unknowns. So some credit is due here too. Surely, Trent.
Yeah, no question. I mean, they looked very strong. They took top spot in the China qualifier, which was a surprise in itself. I know that not many people are predicting that in terms of like just the Compendium to start. And then they come into the group stage. They make their way past that because that's another elimination potential. Then they get through their first bracket first match in the lower bracket. So it sucks. You know, It doesn't feel very good for them, I'm sure. But I hope they can be proud with what they did today.
Yeah, they ran into a green wall, also very much powered by the Nyx Assassin of Zai, who is sitting down with Casey right now.
Congratulations, Zai.
Thank you.
Great game. What do you think in particular made that such a great Nyx game?
Well, I think they exposed their heroes pretty early in the draft with the early Storm pick in particular. It kind of just makes Nyx a good hero. It's not great against PL, but it's pretty good against Bloodseeker as well, because you can just carapace the big round blood right thing. So yeah, she's a good pick.
And is there anything that you want to say to Serenity for how far they came in this tournament and really defying some of the expectations?
I mean, I think it's great to see that China has new blood and that they have teams that still continue to show up. Because to us, they're mainly unknown. I've only heard of, I think, 2 other players before, and their carry player and their offlaning Sync Q. But apart from those 2, I didn't really know who they were. But I mean, they've gotten this far, and it's no slouch. So just keep going.
You are here at TI as a veteran, and you have some younger players on your team, people who have not experienced TI. Have you found yourself taking on a little bit of a mentorship role or a leadership role in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've developed some kind of role similar to that in this team, seeing as I'm more experienced than they are, even though we're close in age. But everyone's well adapted at this point, so it's not like I have to do anything out of the ordinary, I feel.
What kinds of conversations did you have as a team yesterday after the loss to try and get prepared mentally for today?
I don't think we're too upset with losing to Liquid. I think a team like Liquid, and especially in this tournament, I mean, they've shown up again. They are looking incredibly strong this year as well. Probably the team that's looked the best ever in 2 consecutive TIs. So if you're going to be, really upset after losing to that team, it's probably not a good idea. So I mean, we just came in today quite confident against Serenity, and yeah, we won.
What's your confidence level about the prospect of facing either VP or Mineski? You've had a bit of a tough history with VP.
Yeah, I mean, we played VP quite a bit throughout the season. Sometimes we were close to winning, sometimes we weren't. But every time I feel that we took something out of each match against VP. So hopefully the cumulative knowledge and information this time around we'll be able to win. And then, I mean, I'd rather play Mineski. But if I happen to play VP, then we'll still do our best.
Well, and all of us always say, fans and analysts, like, we always say, oh, TI is different. Like, everything changes for TI. From the player's perspective, is that true? Like, is it the kind of thing where who cares what happened between us and VP? That doesn't matter because everything can change, or is that kind of weighing heavily?
Yeah, I mean, I think to some extent that can kind of play into it. For example, if you compare our team to VP's team this year, I think the storyline is something like VP is not performing that well. And for us, it's more like, I mean, we lost the Liquid, but I think most people expected that.